Have you ever experienced negative self-talks such as, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have what it takes, who am I to do this and that? Or have you ever experienced the feeling of being a fraud? Then this video is for you. I'm gonna share with you 3 tips on how you can overcome the feeling of being a fraud. But before we begin, show reel. Welcome back. My name is Amy Lin and I'm a wealth mindset coach. I share with people tips and tricks on how to manifest abundance and wealth with ease. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you a phenomenon called the Imposter Syndrome phenomenon. And what it is the feeling of being a fraud. But before we get into the 3 steps, I'm gonna share with you my own story about how I overcame my own imposter syndrome. You see, when I first became a coach, before I was a coach, I was actually in real estate. I was a realtor selling real estate in Southern California in the US. And the moment when I decided I wanted to start coaching people on the power of their mind and to attract abundance and wealth, man, I hit imposter syndrome. I actually went through what people call anxiety attack, and I wasn't even aware of it. It wasn't until I was sharing with a friend of mine that my body was just feeling the unease, and I don't even know what it was. And then she told me that, Amy, I think you're going through anxiety attack. And what was happening, you see, was because in my mind, I had this negative self-doubt and talk start chattering. Right? So what was going through my mind was, you're not a coach. Who are you going to coach anyone? Who's gonna pay you to be your client? You're not a coach, you're a realtor. You see, those are the negative self-talk that was going through my mind, and I literally hit anxiety attack because my body was just too much. And so the 3 tips I'm gonna be sharing with you is the tips that I wish I had when I was experiencing the imposter syndrome. Okay? So let's get into it. Okay? Make sure you stay till the end because the last tip is the most powerful tip of all. Okay? Let's get into it. Make sure you have a pen and paper and take some notes. Okay? First tip is understanding. Write that down. The word understanding. What are you trying to understand? First of all, you need to understand that it's absolutely normal that you feel like a fraud. Anytime when you're about to go out and step out of your comfort zone and do something different. You see, it can simply be when you want to quit your job and then you want to start your own business. Or even when you want to give a presentation at work and you have never done that. Anything like that, when you're just stepping out of something you've never done, automatically you will feel like uncomfortable. Right? And you might say something like, oh, it doesn't feel right. Like, that's not me. That's not who I am. You see, that's why understanding is so important because your mind is, the job for your mind is trying to protect you. So anytime when that happens, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna feel like it's not you. But the truth is, it is you. It's all you. It's just a different version of you, a different identity of you that you've never been. You've never been to that territory. See? So it's okay to feel the uneasiness. It's totally normal. It's totally part of the process. But do not allow that feeling to stop you from moving forward. Okay? And then let's get into step 2. How do you continue the process? You see, this is very crucial. Step 2 is having positive affirmations. what you want to do is you want to start telling your mind that it's safe, that it's okay, that you are becoming this new version of you. Okay, so I'll give you some examples of the affirmations you can use. For example, if you're someone wanting to start your own business, for example, you can say such thing as, I'm getting better and better at finding out how to run a business. Right? You don't necessarily have to start saying that I'm a business owner, right? You don't necessarily have to do that. You can start slow, just saying that I'm just exploring on what it feels like to be an entrepreneur. I'm just exploring on how it feels like to have my own business. So you can have an easier transition, if you will. In this example of maybe wanting to give a presentation, right? So you might think in your mind, this inner chatter might be saying, you're not a public speaker, you're shy, you're introverted, right? So how to combat that is just to give affirmation as such, I'm getting better and better at speaking up. I feel more at ease when I give presentation in front of large group of people. Okay? And you want to make sure that you do that every single day. Okay? This is how you can combat those negative self-talk. Okay? Which that leaves us to the third tip, which is the most important tip, which is the concept I call acting as if. Okay? You'll hear people talk about, when it comes down to imposter syndrome, a lot of people talk about the saying, fake it till you make it. Okay? I don't personally like the concept faking till you making it, okay? Because you're not faking anything. You're acting like the person of what you want to become. Okay? And again, initially, just understand that it's gonna feel uncomfortable, right? Just like learning to ride a bicycle, learning a new language. In the beginning, you're gonna feel weird. Like you're like, oh, this is not me. I'm not sure. That's normal, okay? But promise you, as you continue to do it, just like learning anything, when you start to get the hang of it, by repetition, you will feel more comfortable. You will get better at doing it. So what is the acting as if concept? What does that mean? It means that I would like you to write down this version of you who you want to be. Okay? Write down exactly the characteristic of this person. How would this version of you think, act, and feel? So the example that we're giving here is if you are someone who is an employee and wanted to start your own business, okay, I want you to think about, okay, now that I am the entrepreneur, now that I am the business owner, how would I feel? What would I be thinking? How would I act? What would I do? Right? The decision making will be very different. The mindset of an employee versus a mindset of an entrepreneur is very different, you see? A mindset of an entrepreneur is thinking about their business, right? Because it's their own. Versus an employee, they don't. They just, every day, they just show up and do the work, you see? So I want you to start tapping into the new version of you. How would they think, act, and feel? And for example, if you're someone looking to give a presentation, so think about if you are someone who is not even a professional presentation when you give the presentator, but someone who's very at ease at giving public speech, for example, how will he or she act? How will he or she feel? How will he or she think? Right? They'll probably be very calm. It's very natural for them. It's very at ease. Right? They're not thinking about all these things that, oh my God, I'm a imposter syndrome, like I feel like a fraud. No, not at all. This is what they do. This is who they are. Okay? So one exercise I would love to give you, it's what I call the mental rehearsal. Okay? What is mental rehearsal? Mental rehearsal is the act, is the practice where you start to give your mind, especially your subconscious mind, images of the things that you would like to see happen. You see, your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between something that you're imagining in your mind or something that you actually experience in real life. Okay? And that you could use that to your advantage, because if you practice in your mind, seeing yourself being that version of you, okay? Seeing how he or she show up every day, soon enough, you're tricking your mind. That's what you're literally tricking your subconscious mind to make believe that you are this new version. So when it comes down to the physical act, actually in the physical world, when you do have to give that speech, or when you do have to take that action step to start your own business, you'll feel more at ease because in your mind, you've already practiced how the situation will go. Okay? So mental rehearsal is a very, very powerful tool that you can use to help you to move on to the next stage of your life, even before it happens. So I'll talk about mental imagery in other videos because it's such a powerful tool. So I'll probably do a separate video just on the steps on how to do it. Okay, but at least I want to share with you these 3 tips. So anytime if you feel like when you try something new, okay, just know that anytime when you go out trying something new, that you can always come back and to this video and apply these 3 tips. And I would love for you to actually share with me if any of these tips actually work for you or work for anyone that you know, maybe that they're going through this imposter syndrome. It's actually very, very common, right? And that's the thing, is that the problem is that this imposter syndrome stop a lot of people from moving forward, from taking the next step because they don't feel comfortable. The uneasiness has been stopping people, okay? So hopefully, if you got a lot of values from this video, make sure you like and subscribe to this video because in this channel, I'm gonna be sharing with you mindset tips and manifestation hacks that will help you to manifest the wealth and abundance that you deserve. Thank you for watching and I'll see you then.